Hello everyone, just to let you know, this is an uncut video and that has very, very strong language. This is midnight. Andre Ruyter just resigned and these are our thoughts uncut. Ladies and gentlemen, Andre de Ruyter, the CEO of Eskom, has resigned and we all know why. He did the unthinkable. He actually showed the world, and South Africa specifically, what the ANC thinks about the country, what the ANC thinks about you, and most importantly, what the ANC thinks about state owned enterprises. With me, of course, is Byron, all the way from Mount Island. And Byron, this evening, well, it is evening when we're recording, of course, we are quite angry about this.
Yeah, so we've bumped our video for tomorrow in order to bring this. This is breaking news. This has just happened. This comes on the back of an interview that Andre de Ruyter did yesterday. Rather interesting interview. If you haven't had the opportunity to see it, you should go watch it. Interestingly enough, the interview has been pulled off TV, and a lot of the links are now no longer easy to find. Many have speculated that the reason for that is because possibly de Ruyter has said more than he should have. And obviously, this more than he should have has actually meant that there's a number of politicians with egg on their face, specifically the echelons of the ANC cabinet. Now, the crux of the interview was what's going wrong with Eskom, and de Ruyter basically says Eskom's being used as a feeding trough, which we all knew. We've called this for some time. And they've asked the question of, do the relevant parties know? And he says not only do they know, but they encourage it. Now, we knew, and we had it as insider information, that at COP26, de Ruyter was told that he could get money from Western countries in order to fund the green agenda. And we both knew, even before he was resigning, that he was going to resign because the ANC had basically said, we want to take control of this cash internally. And he said, well, that means it will just get stolen. Now, how did he know it would get stolen, and why did he know it would get stolen? Well, according to this interview, it's because the echelons of the ANC use the ANC as a feeding trough. And as he highlights, there are a number of instances where he tells key ministers about events that are occurring, and the ministers shrug it off and basically admit that they know. He was asked if he knew which minister it was that he was talking to. He says he couldn't really say. He refused to say and implicate individuals, but he did say it was senior management within the cabinet office. And now I think we can infer, following what's gone on after this, who that may be. The final thing he draws reference to is ANC ideology. He basically says it's the ANC's ideology of central command, the idea that there should be this whole comrade 1980s bullshit that you and I talk about quite a bit. He says it's that ideology that means that the government, through central command, is destroying Eskom. Eskom is meant to be operated as if it was a private company, although the main shareholder is the government. But as he describes, it is not run in that fashion. It is run as a state-owned enterprise. And because it is run as a state-owned enterprise, it has all the same failings as all the other state-owned enterprises. So this was the crux of the interview. But the follow-on from that interview has been rather telling, which I'm sure you can talk about, Ramon.
Yes, indeed, because I think de Ruyter was very careful to say he didn't name the ministers that he was speaking to, right? But when he goes to the ministers and says, listen, we're getting these billions of dollars, and the minister says, well, give it to us. You know, some people need to eat. Think of the greater good. Think of the pragmatic effect on this money. We know, not for a fact, but we can infer and we allege that he's talking about Pravin Gordhan. Pravin Gordhan is a minister of public enterprises, the minister responsible for state-owned enterprises like Eskom. And when this interview went live on those links that are no longer available, the only minister to actually react to it was the turtle commie himself, because Pravin says, in fact, CEOs of entities such as Eskom should not be involved in open political debates. Except Byron, and except my dear audience, please excuse my language, the entire fucking problem with Eskom is political, right? By people like Pravin Gordhan, who are commie fuckers who have destroyed this country. You were in stage 6 level, whatever, stage 6 load shedding because of Pravin Gordhan. He's the one that has been in charge of this debacle since the beginning. He's the one that wants to centralize everything. He's the one that has caused this untold mess in the first place, that is killing people, that is killing businesses, that is killing people at hospitals, that is killing people who can't drive on roads because the traffic lights are out. And now Praveen has the audacity to say, you know what, Director, all these problems are political, but you shouldn't have any political opinions in public whatsoever. The fucking cheek of this communist bastard is just so brazen and overwhelming. And yeah, let me just shut up there.
Yeah, I mean, look, okay, this becomes a difficulty now with governments in general, because as we saw, this was like when the coal king himself turned around and said, oh, we're going to be directly involved in appointing the Ruyter's successor. When they turned around and said, hang on, this is, and the DA came out with this campaign. They said, all of these problems have been caused by cater deployment and meddling by the ANC. And the ANC, no, we don't get involved. It's not our fault. It's not our fault. We don't appoint people, but we're going to appoint people. This is a constant doublespeak that the ANC teams to adopt. And the problem is, as we have seen, the ANC are a bunch of useless freaking morons with an IQ of a drowned fish. They are not smart people, but they are getting involved in these entities in order to steal. Now, let's be very clear what they are stealing. They are stealing yours and my money. They're stealing our taxes. That's what they are stealing. They are not stealing money that they have generated through private enterprise, through their own ingeniousness, because they don't have ingeniousness. They are stupid. So as a result, they are stealing taxpayer money. They are lining their pockets so that they can drive new cars and be drunk all the time, wearing nice clothes, nice shoes, not feeling the effects of load shedding because they are exempt from it, or they are given your money and my money to make their life comfortable so that they don't experience load shedding.
It's much
This
worse
in
than that,
any other.
Byron. I'm really sorry. It's much worse than that. They're not just stealing money, they're stealing the future of the country. They're stealing from everyone who can't pass matric because they can't get to school. They're stealing from
Yep.
patients who are dying in hospital. They are stealing from people in our friend circle who immigrate because of load shedding. That's what they're stealing. They're not just stealing money. It's not just that utilitarian. They're stealing the very soul of what a nation is. And they do so brazenly
100%.
with vigor.
Well, in any other nation, there isn't a captured, useless nation like ours. Sorry, audience. But the fact that people keep voting for these morons is testament to exactly how stupid our nation is. But the fact that they are still doing this is nothing more than treason. This is treason. They are stealing money in order to line their own pockets, in order to make their life comfortable at your expense. It's treason. It's nothing more than treason. And while the nation sits back and allows it and watches families get torn apart, when families immigrate, it tears away a future, a cultural identity, who they are. Doesn't matter if they're black, white, Indian, colored, doesn't matter. They are destroying people's lives regardless in order for them to be able to have a brand new car and some champagne. All whilst they congratulate each other, call themselves, oh, comrade, yeah, aren't we great? Nah, man, these people are fucking useless and they should all be fit to a firing squad because it's nothing short of treason. And actually, if you look at what De Ruyter did, they said to De Ruyter, is this treason? And he said, well, according to my definition, yes, it is. It's treason. And I think we can agree. This is treason.
Exactly. And the only person who actually gets punished in all this is the Ruyter himself. So he has left with immediate effect the position of CEO at Eskom. No doubt he's probably, as you were watching this video, on a plane out of the country because I have very little doubt his life is at risk because he has
His life's at
exposed
risk.
his life's at risk. It's very simple. From the very people we've been talking about, because we know that, political assassinations are a real thing. We are literally Mexico or Colombia in this regard. And all of this because people want a new Maserati, right? All of this because people want to have a 20 million rand house. These are not the people to invest. These are not the people to give to charity. These are not the people to build foundations, to leave a legacy behind. It's all about eating now. And this country has been destroyed by people who can't just say no, who can't just say that's enough, who can't just say I'll take 5% off the top, not 90% off the bottom. And Andre de
Mm.
Ruyter's life is ruined. This country is ruined. And, well, at the end of the day, it's actually very good, perhaps, that it's ruined because now we can have alternatives to these fuckers.
Yeah, so South Africa as a whole, we've said it before, needs to be treated like a pioneering state. We have to become like a pioneering state. I will not abandon my legacy, neither will you. My forefathers came to the country many years ago. I am a fourth generation South Africa. I see no reason why I should abandon my state because of some fucking greedy commie dickheads that belong in the Soviet era. The Soviet Union fell. These fuckers should be consigned to the history scrap heap of history. I can guarantee you, stage 8 is on the horizon. We are going to get stage 8. We're probably going to get stage 98 at this stage. And at the end of the day, the only parties to fix this will be ourselves. And you know what? I consider that a good thing to a large degree because we should become state independent. Every time the government opens their big trap to say, oh, we've got a solution, we should say, fuck off. We don't want your solution. Piss off and go die in a dish and just leave us to fucking fix it ourselves, you bloody commie pricks.
And that's exactly what we have been doing and what we have been professing on this very channel. So the irony, of course, is that this insatiable greed by Pravin et al. Is leading to the most libertarian, stateless, pioneering society in the world. And that is what South Africa is. And if you still have any faith whatsoever in Cyril or the ANC to reform or a cabinet reshuffle, get your head checked out, see a psychologist, maybe get on medication, but most importantly, get off the grid. Because by now, if you don't understand what's going on, you're beyond redemption. Stay in this country, fight for what is right, fight for your legacy, get off grid, build your community, get armed. The ANC is powerless against that. It's very simple.
And every time you see an ANC guy, tell him to fuck off. So you bloody thief. Call him for who he is. Fucking looter. Every ANC person should be normalized. I saw a brilliant clip today, and that I think we should normalize this. And what it was a guy going around a pothole, and he took a spray paint can and he circled it with a spray paint can, and he wrote next to it, "Thanks ANC." We should start normalizing that. Every time you see a government fuck up, write "Thanks ANC" on it. Remind everybody it's the ANC that fucked this place up, and the only way to get rid of them is to chuck them out. And I will say on a final point, Ramon, lots of people are going to sit here and watch our video and go, you guys are very angry. You're swearing too much. Why are you swearing too much? Don't swear so much. You should be swearing. If you are not angry and upset, you are part of the problem. You should be getting upset. This is your future. This is your legacy. It's your money. If you are not upset, who's going to be? Who's going to be upset?
Yeah, no one is going to be upset. But anyway, as Gordon Gekko said in Wall Street, greedy is good. And in this particular case, unfortunately, the greedy ones are the ones destroying the place, but the greedy ones are leaving us the space to build our own alternatives. So, Andre de Ruyter, thank you for your service. Pity it didn't work out, but though it could never have worked out if we're really honest. Hopefully, you're able to make it overseas safely. And for all those watching, yeah, it's Thursday, so say a little prayer for everyone to see Praveen Gordon, that commie bastard. Thanks for watching. Cheers.
Yeah, and for those of you who want to know why we are upset with this, I just want to end off on this, Ramon. The reason we are upset is not because he's a white guy and the white guy got blamed. The reason is just because of how callous the ANC is now with our future. They know that he spoke about this. They know he's right. They know he's been trying to fix the place. They have poisoned the guy. They've robbed the guy. They've put him under state security. They've threaten the lives of his kids, all so that they can eat. And they've done it brazenly. They've done it in front of everybody, and they've done it shamelessly. And they don't care. They don't care. And that's why we're upset. Not because it's the white guy, but because they just don't care about how much they steal and loot. And one of the lines that even Andre says in his interview, he says to them, "This guy's stealing." And the minister looks him in the face and goes, "Well, I suppose they find out eventually. Huh? Oh, well." They just don't care. And that's why you should be upset, ladies and gentlemen. That's why.
Exactly. But what you should care about, of course, is building the alternatives. And there are quite a lot, thankfully. So therefore, we're not saying you should immigrate like Andre de Ruyter, but more importantly, you need to make that
He's not
greed
immigrating, mate.
of the
He's
ANC.
not
Well,
immigrating.
he's fleeing the country,
He's
by
not.
one supposes.
He's not immigrating, right? He's going into exile. Oh, you remember all the ANC little pricks that used to say, "Oh, we went into exile," even though what they really did is went to Botswana and got pissed for 10 years until somebody said you could come back and run a government. You know those guys. Andre's going into exile. He's leaving his country because it's not safe. He is now going to become a refugee because of the service that he's provided to the country. That's not leaving the country. That's not immigrating for economic opportunities. He has to leave for fear for his life. That's completely different. Let us never, ever forget that. Andre de Ruyter will now be in exile. He will be a refugee because of political persecution. Nothing more.
Indeed. Thankfully, we are not Andre de Ruyter, so we are staying, and we have the alternatives, and we are building them as we speak. Thank you for watching, everyone. Have a good one. Cheers.
Right.